Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. What I'd love to do today is go through a book that is entitled Born in Blackness, a book that was published on the 12th of October 2021 by an author named Howard French. Dear history enthusiast, this book is your compass to a world you thought you knew but never truly understood. Not just a retelling of the past. Born in Blackness by Howard French is a revelation, a story that demands to be heard, a perspective that reshapes everything you thought you knew about the making of the modern world. This book doesn't just inform, it transforms, opening one's eyes to the hidden forces that have shaped our world over centuries. The author French doesn't just write history, he weaves it like an intricate tapestry, showing how Africa and Africans were central to the birth of the modern era, not the footnotes of history once tried to reduce them. So let's see what we can learn, what we can glean, and what we can take from this book. And the first key message that comes from the author is that Africa is the centerpiece. French takes the narrative of world history, the one we're taught in school, and flips it on its head. From the opening pages, he shows how Africa wasn't a passive player in history, but a driving force behind the rise of global empires, the shaping of economies, and the birth of modernity. He meticulously traces how Europe's obsession with gold, wealth, and labour from Africa set the stage for the modern global economy. You find yourself whispering, how did we not know this? As we read page after page of revelations pulling us deeper into the truth. We go to unmasking the Eurocentric lens, and the author French dismantles the comfortable Eurocentric version of history we've been fed for generations. He doesn't do it with anger, but with undeniable facts, beautifully articulated arguments, and a sense of justice. He takes us to 15th century Africa, where rich empires like Mali and astonishing leaders like Mansa Musa wielded immense power and influence. Africa was not a dark continent waiting to be discovered. It was a beacon of wealth and knowledge that Europe couldn't resist exploiting. Reading this, one feels a mix of awe and heartbreak for the stories that have been erased. We look at the weight of this Atlantic slave trade, and French delves into the Atlantic slave trade not as a standalone atrocity, but as the backbone of the modern world's wealth. He unveils how enslaved Africans built the economies of Europe and the Americas, their labour funding industries, empires and revolutions. It's impossible to read these chapters and not feel the gravity of how much was stolen, lost and destroyed, yet French writes it with such precision and care that it feels less like a condemnation and more like a plea for the truth. We look at the resilience of African agency. Amidst the harrowing history, French uplifts the stories of African agency, resistance and brilliance. This isn't just a history of exploitation, it's also a history of survival, resistance and cultural endurance. He highlights African leaders, thinkers and movements that fought to preserve their humanity, even in the face of unimaginable brutality. You find yourself pausing to reflect on the resilience of those who refuse to be erased, whose stories still echo in our ears today. There are a number of uncomfortable truths that one must face, and reading this book feels like one is having a long overdue conversation with history, one that is both enlightening and deeply uncomfortable at the same time. French forces us to confront the realities of colonialism, capitalism, and the racism that fuel them. It's not a comfortable journey, but it's a necessary one. One finds themselves wrestling with the implications of what one is reading, not just for the past, but for the present and the future as well. We look at global connections as well, and French doesn't stop at Africa. He connects the dots across the continents, showing how Africa's influence ripple through Europe, the Americas and beyond, from the sugar plantations of the Caribbean to the Industrial Revolution of Britain. He reveals how deeply intertwined Africa's history is with the rest of the world. It's a masterclass in connecting the past to the present, making it impossible to see the world the same ever again. And the final point is a call to reclaim the narrative. Ultimately, French's book is a call to revisit history with open eyes and open hearts. He challenges the reader to question the stories that we've been told over and over, and to honour the voices that have been silenced. This isn't just a book about the past, it's a guide to understanding the present and imagining a more honest and inclusive future. And in conclusion, some books educate you, some books challenge you. Born in Blackness does both and more. It's a mirror held up to the world, reflecting the truths we've ignored for too long. It's a map for navigating the complex, often painful history that shaped our modern world, and perhaps more importantly, it's a tribute to the resilience, brilliance and humanity of those whose stories deserve to be heard. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5 a.m. Club, where I'm heading to the beautiful main quadrangle here at Sydney University on this awesome Sydney autumn morning. Looks like it's going to be a cracker of a day, and I look forward to sharing more with you throughout the day. Bye for now.